You've been here before. The fire hits, something clicks, and for a few days, maybe a few weeks, you actually move. You do the things and then it fades. And then you start again. And then it fades again. And at some point, you have to start a thought you don't say out loud. Maybe I'm not the kind of person who follows through. I want to show you something. In Chinese, there's a concept called Kung Fu. See, Kung Fu most people think as Kung Fu fighting, Bruce Lee, but the original meaning is the skill acquired through time and effort. Not talent, not inspiration, accumulated practice. The master calligrapher didn't get there because they felt motivated every morning. They got there because they picked up a brush every day, regardless on how it felt. Motivation was never a fuel. Repetition was. And nobody told most of us that. When I trained police and security dogs in Texas, one of the fewer than a dozen licensed facilities of its kind in the state, I learned something that I had never been able to unsee. You cannot train reliable behavior through a command alone. If the dog already knows the command, repeating it louder, more firmly, with more frustration does not change the outcome. What changes the outcomes is this. The behavior must be practiced under low pressure, repeated enough times until the gut brain runs it automatically. At the moment the trigger fires, not because the trigger. At the moment, human beings are identical. If you already know what to do, the problem is not that you lack the command. The problem is that the new behavior hasn't been practiced enough to become the automatic response. See, that's not a character flaw. That is a training gap. I'm Jerry S. Lin, the Human Systems Engineer. Gaps can be closed with the right method. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how or why motivation-based change always fails, and the specific practice that builds the automatic response that doesn't require motivation to run. Here's the design problem with motivation. Motivation is an emotional state. It lives in the heart brain, the feeling center. It rises when conditions are good. Good sleep, encouragement, environment, the recent wins, inspiring content. It fails when conditions shift. Bad sleep, criticism, setback, the 10th gray Tuesday in a row. It's not a stable foundation when you feel motivated. Action is almost effortless. When you don't, every step requires a negotiation between your head and your gut. And willpower is the tool most people reach for to bridge that gap. But willpower is also a state, also temporary, also runs out. The person who depends on motivation and willpower to change their behavior is, in effect, trying to drive from city to city, hoping to find the gas at every stop. Sometimes it works, often it doesn't. And when it doesn't, they blame themselves. Here is what I want you to understand clearly. The gut brain does not respond to states. It responds to repetition. What you consistently, under many different conditions, with many different feelings, eventually becomes what you do automatically. That's Kung Fu. Kung Fu skill through accumulated practice, not inspiration. Practice. The fire of motivation is real and useful, but it is not the engine, it is the spark. Reps are the engine. I call this the reps gap. The reps gap is the distance between knowing what to do and your gut brain doing it automatically. In pressure, in bad moods, in the moment when motivation is completely absent, you already know what to do. I can say with confidence because almost every person who is stuck is not stuck from a lack of information. They are stuck because knowing lives in their head brain and behavior lives in their gut brain. And the gap between them is not closed by more knowing. It's closed by doing. Deliberately, repeatedly, until the gut brain recognizes the new pattern as the default. Here's why this hits differently for those of us with high expectation backgrounds. We studied, we memorized, we earned the grades. The head brain is highly trained, and so We approach behavioral change the same way. Study harder, understand deeper, know more about the problem. But the gut brain doesn't respond to studying. It responds to practice. And this is exactly why you can know a pattern perfectly, name it, explain it, trace it to its origins, and still run it automatically the moment the trigger fires. Knowledge is the beginning. Reps are the mechanism, and the reps require a system, not a feeling. It's like if I want to teach you how to play basketball, I can tell you exactly how to flip your wrist and how to dribble and how to calculate the distance and the arc and whatnot, and your head brain will know how to do it. But until you actually physically bounce that ball and shoot that hoop and feel what it feels like for your body to do that hoop, you'll never know how to play, because what you know is not exactly what you can do. Practice is where that comes with. And here's the practice designed specifically to work without motivation. I call it the stack. The gut brain learns most efficiently by attaching new behavior to an existing automatic transition. So if a transition is a moment when your body already knows well, a moment where a familiar sequence is already running. You wake up, transition, you pour the first coffee. Transition, you sit at the desk. Transition, you get in a car. Transition, at these moments, the gut brain is already running on autopilot. We're going to attach one behavior to an existing one. The move, pick one. Transition, you do every day, every single day without thinking. Most people making coffee, sitting, brushing their teeth, or sitting on the edge of the bed before standing up, starting the car, attaching one 5-second action to that transition every time. No exception. See, simple, physical, directly connected to the change you want. So you make coffee every morning and attach while you're making coffees, both feet on the floor, one slow breath, one word spoken out loud that names what you're choosing today. Presence, forward, calm, alive, joy. And that's it. Not because you feel inspired, because the transition happened and the stack runs with it. After 21 days of consistent reps, the gut brain begins to own the new behavior. It becomes automatic. No motivation required, because motivation was never the point. Kung Fu was always the point. Pick up the brush every day. That's how permanent change is built. So the question of the day, what transition do you do every single day without thinking that you could attach one new 5-second action to it right now? Name it below. One transition, one action. The first reps, Saturday, Reset Room. We practice this live together every Saturday, free. Go to 5sr.org. Come do the reps.